security matter now, as the military have taken over these state funeral. President William Ruto will be leading Kenyans in the same. Chris, Thairu, kindly bring us up to speed on what's the next course of action. Has the entourage left the airport towards the Lee funeral home? Thairu.
Well, Aseto, these are mourners, and they've been here since 6 a.m. Ready to receive the remains of the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. The remains have already arrived here at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, and the procession is already underway, and the body was received by President William Ruto together with the fourth president. That's retired President Uhuru Kenyatta was there also to receive the body. And right now it's just the procession. The military has already taken over. Just some briefing before the main procession starts off. And I understand that initially the procession was to use the expressway, but I understand that plans have changed. They will use Mombasa Road all the way to State House and Nairobi, and then from State House the procession will head again to Parliament buildings, where now members of Parliament, that's the National Assembly and the Senate, will have an opportunity to view the remains of the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Chaos have been witnessed here, that is from the motor Boda riders trying to gain access forcefully, and they managed actually to gain access inside the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. The police were overpowered by the mourners. And what is happening currently is that the procession has stalled because of the mourners. And the numbers are still surging, Seto. From a distance I can see the remains have already been taken over by the military personnel, and they are on the gun carriage, and we'll be expecting that it will snake its way. The procession, of course, will snake its way from here all the way to Mombasa Road. And this is a man who is loved was loved by his supporters. Remember that there are supporters who are die-hard supporters who have been or have showed that they can put their life on the line just to support or to show their support for the retired former Prime Minister. And they've shown this solidarity, and they've indicated that they'll show this solidarity. They'll mourn him up to the day on Sunday when he's expected to be laid to rest in his Opoda farm in Siaya. The mourning continues. Remember that tomorrow, the government has already declared tomorrow to be a national, a public holiday for Kenyans to mourn a person who has been in Kenyan politics for decades. A person who has been a minister, he served as a minister, an opposition leader, a prime minister, and he's tried to gain out, to seek for the presidency. He tried that on the six times, and during the 2022 general elections, he came in second after President William Ruto. But remember that at least he was defeated with less than 300,000 votes. So it shows that it's someone who, of course, he has his supporters. That's the crowd, and the processions have already started. Seto, so we'll be sneaking all the way to Mombasa Road. Seto.
Chris, Thairu, are you able to confirm whether President William Ruto has left the airport, and will he be part of the procession, or due to security reasons he will use a different route all the way to Parliament, Thairu?
Hii ni chaotic. Sawa. Ama tungekaa kidogo kando tupate nipo. Unaonaje oti? Tupate kando. Sawa, sawa. Sawa, ama naenda kando.
Nafaa kuona huyu jamaa.
Anaona tuko sawa mbele. Ako sawa tunamwongelea. Sawa, sawa. Hivyo hivyo. Sasa sisi tuko na procession, tuko mbele ya procession tu exactly. Sawa, alafu nani wako nyuma, bora hapo nyuma ya procession. Sawa, tuko sawa. Hata hii branch inazuia picha poa. Huyu. Msa anazuia picha. Kuna expressway.
Hiyo fungeka hapa katikati yetu.
Katikati hapa karibu.
Hiyo line.
Hello? Hello? Ati? Tuko hata tunatoka JKIA.
Jomo Kenyatta International Airport there as supporters who went to receive the body of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga continue to block roads pretty much, as you can see there, as well as at the Lee Funeral Home. Security officers, military, regular police and NYS as well taking charge. Let's now touch base with our senior political affairs reporter, Chris Tairu, who has been at the JKIA all morning. Good morning, Chris Tairu. Very well. Now we see everything is at a standstill. The military have taken over that carriage that has the remains of Raila Odinga. Just what exactly is happening? Have the military managed to move at all?
Yet to know what the decision has been taken by the military, because the military took over when the body landed, and the procession as it starts, the mourners have indicated that they will use Mombasa Road and it's not expressway, and that was the standoff between the mourners and the military. The mourners here had already indicated that if at all they will not use Mombasa Road, they are ready to take over the remains of Raila and carry them on their backs to show the solidarity and the unity that they have together as mourners and the supporters of Raila Amolo Odinga. That was a brief standoff, but it seems it has been resolved, but it's still taking time, slowly by slowly. And if at all it goes like this, then it will take hours before these remains or the procession gets to State House and to Parliament, because that was the initial plan. But it seems mourners here have their plans and they are ready to take over the procession. So far, so good. There are no chaos. The police are already ensuring that all is well. But let's hope that their plea or their demand that they use or the procession uses Mombasa Road will be granted by the Kenya Defence Forces, because they have already taken over the remains of Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, even as we start this procession as settled.
Chris, before I let you go, do you have any information whether President William Ruto and Deputy President Kithure Kindiki and the family of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga have left JKIA? Proceedings. We continue to follow up on the proceedings at the JKIA. Chris Tairu there tells us that there has been a standoff between the supporters of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga on what route to use. The supporters there say they want to use Mombasa Road. Military earlier, the plans was that the body would use the expressway, but the standoff seems to have come to a consensus that the body will use Mombasa Road. But that notwithstanding, still nothing much is happening. But the military have taken over the body of Raila Odinga. It is in a military carriage, as it will be snaking through the roads all the way to State House before it heads to the Parliament buildings, after which it will go back to the Lee Funeral Home. And even at the Lee Funeral Home, security operators have taken over. There is presence of military officers, there is regular police and NYS who have all been deployed to ensure that security is beefed up and that everything goes according to plan. The dignitary is led by President William Ruto, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, cabinet secretaries. The family of Raila Odinga are still holed up at the airport in the VVIP area as they wait the way forward. We will be sharing the way forward as we get them, because like we have said, protesters are at the airport. At some point, they overpowered the police officers and managed to gain access to the airport, including the taxi area where that flight KQ 203 had docked with remains of Raila Odinga. It was expected there would have been a short ceremony, perhaps a prayer, but that did not get to take place because the protesters had taken over, overrun the police officers, and that did not take place, upon which the military then took over the body, loaded it in their carriage, and started making their way outside the airport towards the parliament buildings. As at when that procession will continue, we wait to see, but it will be remembered that Raila Odinga died in India while undergoing treatment. Mama Ida Odinga yesterday telling Kenyans that she expected her husband to come back home. Unfortunately, that was not to be. A man that will be remembered of being a father of democracy. A man who put aside his wishes and put the country forward. A man who has run for presidency 5 times, and many say he is a president that was never declared. That is according to statement by Wiper Patriotic Front party leader Kalonzo Musyoka. But it will also be remembered Raila Odinga ran for the position of Africa Union Commission chairperson, and he came in second. A man who has led this country, but he also served at the African Union in charge of infrastructure, a position that he was serving during the reign of retired President Uhuru Kenyatta. And as we talk about President Uhuru Kenyatta, he visited the family yesterday, condoled with the family, and today at the airport, he was equally there to receive the body of someone he has called a friend. And the friendship was seen during the handshake that also led to former President Uhuru Kenyatta supporting Raila Odinga in his 2022 presidential ambitions through Azimio. They have continued to be in contact and in touch. And it will be remembered, broad-based government as well came through, and Raila again puts aside his ambitions and decides to sit down with President William Ruto. And what he says, let us put aside our differences and put the country first, because the country is bigger than any one individual. A man who is said to have been in the forefront in the search for multi-party democracy. Talk about the new constitution, that is the Constitution 2010. Talk about devolution. He is said to be the father of devolution in Kenya. Those are live pictures coming from JKIA. You can see that is the VIP section as leaders continue to engage. That is Raila Jr. We can see Mama Ida and President William Ruto just engaging in having discussions, perhaps on the way forward, as the body of her husband, the body of President William Ruto's friend in the broad-based government continue to make its way towards the parliament building. We can confirm that the leaders are still at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport VIP area as consultations continue. Consultations continue among all the leaders. You can see our Deputy Party Leader and Mombasa Governor Abdul Somad Sharif Nasir, Cabinet Secretary Barasa, and many other dignitaries are held up in conversations and engagements as the way forward is being addressed. President William Ruto seems to be leaving. Governor Johnson Sakaja, Nairobi governor there. We wait to see what's the next course of action. This is the VIP area where the president and the family of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga are engaging. Remember, outside on the streets of the body and remains of Prime Minister Raila Odinga has been taken over by the military, but they seem not to be moving because the protesters insist that the entourage and procession takes Mombasa Road. Earlier, the plans was that the procession would take would take the expressway. The mourners there and supporters of Raila Odinga insisting that if it does not take Mombasa Road, they are willing to take the casket and carry it themselves all the way to the parliament buildings. It is a love that was seen while Raila Odinga was alive. It is love that is seen even in his passing on, and his supporters still say this is our man and we will be part of his final send-off. Remember, from the JKIA, the remains expected to be taken straight to State House, after which they will go to our Parliament building, and from Parliament buildings it will go back to the Lee Funeral Home, after which it will go to his home in Karen, and later tomorrow the body will go from his home to the Nyayo National Stadium, where we will have that a state funeral, after which the body will then be flown to Kisumu, where Kenyans again will have an opportunity to view the body, pay their last respects, upon which the boy again will leave Kisumu to his home in Opoda in Bondo, where then again it will spend the night there, and final rites will be given on Sunday. All these in consultation with their family and Raila Odinga's lawyer, who, according to Raila's will, he wanted to be buried within 72 hours of his death. Raila Odinga, a man who continues to give direction even in his absence. He wanted his things done his way, and that is exactly what the government of Kenya, in consultation with the family, will be doing. And as you can see, those are live images coming to you from the JKIA, where supporters are there waiting for the procession of the man they loved, a person they call Baba Agwambo, the Enigma, a man who has fought for the rights that we enjoy today as the people of Kenya, the right to freedom of expression, freedom of picketing, freedom of speaking as to power. Public participation has been part and parcel of the constitution, which many say Raila Odinga has been part of. Multi-party democracy is accorded to this man, Raila Odinga, whose remains have arrived in the country not long ago, using the KQ flight 203, but which again was christened RAW 001. We continue to follow up on the developing story on your screens as we wait to see the way forward. Military in the procession towards the parliament buildings. But let's listen to the